So the reason why doctors will leave you on, well, I mean, how the doctors basically lead you on to believe that medication works, medication like antipsychotics, is basically this. When you're taking your medication as prescribed by your doctor, um, you're basically doing what they tell you to do, right? Um, and because you're doing what they tell you to do, the reason they say things like, when you don't take your medication, you'll become unwell. The reason you'll become unwell is because you're not doing what they tell you to do. So it's like you're rebelling against the system. And it's kind of like, when you rebel against like what people tell you to do, um, you're kind of rebelling against yourself. Just because you put yourself under stress because you're not doing what they tell you to do, it's just going to be a stressful thing if you're not doing what someone's telling you to do, you know. Um, Whatever it is. So you might be on medication, you might not really like your medication, but like I said, the reason why you'll become more unwell if you don't take it is because, like I say, you're just going against um, what you're being told to do. It's just a stressful thing. So you're automatically, if you're rebelling against what someone's telling you to do, because it's a stressful thing, it's like, your situation is ultimately depressing, and um, you know, sometimes it's just easier to do what people tell you to do, whether you like it or not. Just because it's just less stressful to just uh, follow orders. So it's not so much that the medication is good for you or the medication works. Um, it's kind of like you're just following orders. It doesn't matter what the medication is. If you follow orders, you're gonna have a better um, trip than if you go against what's being told, what's being asked from you. So like I said, it's got nothing to do with like what's in the medication. Like I say, like there might be some stuff in the medication that makes you react negatively, but going, it beats rebelling because it's just a more stressful. That's why people tend to go in the direction of being loving with people instead of being hateful with people, because if you're being hateful with people, that's just more stressful. Even if it's like, even if you've got it in your head that being hateful with people is, even if you believe in an eye for an eye, you know, and you've come to the conclusion, you can, like, just as an example, there can be somebody in your life who can be a bully or who can be hateful with you, um, and Well, I mean more passive aggressive. I'm talking. If someone's being hateful in your face, I mean usually people will react and just be hateful back because they're just being hateful in their face. But if someone's being passive aggressive, a lot of the time people just, and I'm talking about in real life. I'm not talking online, because online, um, if someone's being, if you don't like somebody online and you don't know them, people don't have any incentive to be nice to them. People will just say shit to them because they don't like them and they're never going to meet them in real life. But if you know somebody in real life, um, and they're passive aggressive to you, usually you just let it slip. I mean, usually you're just, you know, being polite to them. You don't go in the direction of telling them to fuck off. You know, like, how often do you hear people in real life tell other people to fuck off? I mean, it does happen, but usually people are polite to each other, even if they don't like the other person, you know? Because people don't want to cause a scene, because people don't want to, because it's just stressful, you know? If I don't like someone in my life, I don't say anything. I just say, okay, you know, if they've got to be in my life, but, you know, I don't really get a choice. For example, if there's a nurse, I'm in rehab at the minute, and there's some nurses that I don't like. I don't like them, but I tend to not. I mean, I'm kind of rebellious, so I do say some stuff sometimes. But most of the time, even me, I tend to just not even. I just tend to be like, whatever. I just tend to be like, if they talk to me, I just reply and I don't tell them to fuck off. I'll tell them to fuck off in my head, but I won't say it out loud. Because saying it out loud is like, that's a stressful thing. Um, so that kind of like, you can, like, it's kind of the same thing when it comes to medication. It's just, you know, um, like being hateful or being loving or being hateful and just, you know, not really doing anything about it, just not, you know, just like not causing a scene. It's just a less stressful thing, you know. It's less stressful to, you know, because, you know, deep down, like, what I want to do is I want to scream and I want to break shit all the time, and I want to tell people to go fuck themselves because I don't like people. That's what I want to do, but I don't do it because it would be stressful to be that guy. As much as I hate people, I really can't be. I'm too much of a pussy and I can't be arsed with it. I would rather just be um, on good terms with people, or just not even fucking. I'd rather just not tell people to fuck off out loud, because it would be too stressful to be that guy, to having to walk around, you know, um, being hateful to people. It's just a stressful thing, and that's the same thing with medication. It's like I take medication because it's more stressful to not take medication, because when you don't take medication, you're going against, you know, I get the pressures of everyone else telling me I've got to take my medication, my family telling me to take my medication, my doctor's telling me I've got to take medication, them forcing me to take medication by putting me in hospital, because that's what would happen to me. I would get forced to take medication. You know, I don't have a choice. So the last stressful thing for me to do is to just take my medication, whether I like it or not. I don't like the effects the medication has on me, but so when people say stuff like if you don't take your medication you'll become ill, it's like, yeah, I probably will become ill, but not for the reasons, because it's not because like the medication's like helping me in the sense as like, you know, it, um it's not anything that, it's not the way the medication works. It's more just the whole situation around people saying like, I've got to take medication It's more like, it's just my care plan, right? Um, the doctor, for some reason, I don't really know why, but for some reason he believes that the medication works for me. So if I went against that, um, you know, um, I'm gonna become unwell just because of the fact that, you know, I don't know. I don't. It's really hard to explain what I'm trying to say here. You know, but I know for a fact it's not. There's nothing about the medication that keeps me well. It's just my care plan that somewhat keeps me well. If that makes sense. It's just because of my situation. I just do better on medication, because if I didn't take the medication, the whole world would explode. I'd go to hospital. They'd force me to take the medication, because they'd force me. They wouldn't let me stay in rehab. They'd put me in hospital, and they'd force the medication on me there. And the whole situation would be stressful. My parents would be worried. Um, it's like everyone believing that the medication is good for me will causes me to have a negative effect when I come off the medication, because everyone's thinking, oh, he's not taking his medication, so he must be unwell. You know, like what people think about you um, has an effect on you. So that's all I want to say. All right, bye.